I'm sure you've at least heard of Skyblock in Minecraft, where we have to beat the entire game on top of just a tiny floating area. Today I'm gonna try the same challenge, but in Bloons Tower Defense 6. This week's boss event is Vortex on the new map Tinkerton, and in the bottom left corner there's a tiny area on top of a juice container that you can place towers on, and I'm gonna attempt to beat the boss using only this area. In preparation for tier 1, we will begin by placing down an engineer and our free dart monkey. The thing we want to save up money for first is to turn the engineer into a balloon trap, since anything caught by his trap gives double the income. You can just barely fit one farm on top of the juice container, but doing so only leaves room for one tiny tower, so we will end up making more money and having an easier time surviving using other towers. These types of limited area type challenges are extra hard when playing against Vortex compared to other bosses, since every time you pop a skull, he will stun everything nearby, and if all of your towers are in the same spot, everything will get stunned and it's pretty much game over. Now that we have the balloon trap, I will constantly retarget the trap to the same location over and over so that he replaces it more often, so we don't get that long downtime that happens whenever the trap gets full. In time for round 28, where we encounter the first few lead balloons, we get the lead to gold and change the targeting of the trap so it doesn't steal the pop from the alchemist, since it will make even more money than the balloon trap for these types of balloons. After that, we will upgrade the alch to rubber to gold to increase the income even more. Since we've placed the NG as far away from the track as we can, and the opposite for the alch, it will just barely have time to throw the golden potion onto the balloons before they enter the trap, making us a lot more money from those balloons. For this though, the trap placement needs to be pretty precise, not placed as far away as possible from the NG, because then the alch can't throw the potions in time, and not so close that he starts attacking with his nail gun. For round 33, we upgrade the dart monkey to 032, so he will be able to deal with all the camo balloons that we will encounter before the first boss tier, and since we placed him so far back, he won't be able to steal any pops from the trap. And that's it, now we just keep this setup until we reach round 40 for the first encounter with Vortex, and here we will sell everything and buy a plasma accelerator and a stronger stim alch to make it even stronger. The good thing about this tower is that it is one of the few towers that can do damage to Vortex while he has his shield up. For every skull that you pop, every quarter of his HP, he will not only stun all nearby towers, but he will also move backwards a bit on the track and spawn a shield around him that deflects all projectiles for a few seconds. But thanks to our setup being able to deal a good amount of damage and damage him while his shield is up, he never gets close enough to stun our towers on tier 1. Towards the end of the kill, there are some purple balloons spawning in this round which the plasma accelerator cannot damage, so we're forced to leak them, losing us about half of our lives. But we do succeed in taking down tier 1, so now it's time to start prepping for tier 2. We sell our 2 towers and get a discount village, and then buy 2 balloon traps, since one won't be enough to hold back the balloons any longer. Then we get the village up to Monkey City and also radar scanner. This way our balloon traps will be able to see camo and they will get more cash for every pop. Now I have to micro these traps, not only refreshing the targeting to the same place over and over for more uptime, but also some rounds change the targeting several times mid-round to make sure we catch every balloon. At round 50 we'll face a Moab, so we need more defense to be able to pop it, and for that we'll get an elite sniper that we will cross path for faster firing, and we also upgrade the balloon traps cross path to deconstruction. This will not only allow the balloon traps to catch more fortified balloons per trap, but also do more damage to Moabs with their nail guns. This allows us to pop the Moab just in time for me to catch the insides with the trap instead of leaving them for the sniper, making sure we earn every dollar that we can. This sniper also has an ability that drops a crate filled with cash. The only reason we didn't get it sooner before round 50, even though we had the cash to do so, is because the sniper has infinite range and would steal a lot of the pops from the NGs. But now that we need it anyway, we might as well get 2 snipers. And now we continue like this until round 60, when it's time for tier 2. Here we sell both of our snipers and get a MAD for its crazy Moab damage. The traps from the engineers will need to be retargeted from the start of the track to a bit further along it instead. This is because Vortex also clears the track of any objects every 5 seconds, which removes the traps, and if anything had been caught by those traps, you lose the entire income, so we need to move them away from the boss. The Mad absolutely shreds the boss. Round 61 has a lot of Bloons, but we only leak one thanks to us having enough money to keep both of our NGs while still affording the Mad to take care of the boss. And like that we take down tier 2 and we set up for the next one. We begin by selling the Mad and one of the Bloon traps while we turn the other one into the tier 5 XL trap, and we also get a rubber to gold. This trap can hold a lot more Bloons and can also trap Moab class balloons. This trap will be able to catch everything, and the rubber to gold with the extra range from the village can just barely reach Moab class balloons up here due to their large hitbox. This means that for all of the Moabs we will get a ton of income. Here you might wonder why I haven't filled the remaining spots with snipers or maybe a spirit of the forest for their income generation. And well, I actually tested it and I earn about $15,000 more up until the next boss tier if I don't place them. That's because even though they have some decent income generation, the pops that they steal are worth so much more if they're popped by the NG, so we won't get those towers until later. After round 85, the income per pop decreases from 20% to 10% of the original $1 per pop, so that trade-off becomes more worth it at that point. Also, by that point the Mob class balloons will have begun scaling their HP so they can take more damage before getting destroyed, meaning it becomes less likely that they will be stolen from the XL trap. For some rounds I need to micro the trap in order to be able to survive them and also maximize our income, but from now on the rounds will be pretty much the same until we reach round 80. Now it's time for tier 3. Here we're gonna get the Ray of Doom for damage to the boss, which has infinite range and can do damage through the shield. We're also gonna get the Spirit of the Forest because we're gonna get that tower soon anyway for its income generation, and we won't be able to get all of the pops on the trap anyway during the boss fight since the boss will blow the traps away from the track. For the first skull, I tried timing it so that it would pop right at the corner so I wouldn't get stunned, but I mistimed it and I got stunned anyway. Thankfully, my XL Trap engineer was just millimeters further away and didn't get stunned, so it cleaned everything up while the rest of the towers just waited for the stun to disappear. Now that the boss is far enough away, we no longer need to try and time anything and just attack it at all times, and we managed to destroy tier 3 as well, so now it's time we prep for tier 4. The only thing we want to do now is exchange the Ray of Doom for the Elite Sniper and then we're done. Now we're farming at max speed and all I need to do is micro the trap to make sure that the rubber to gold has the time to hit as many targets as possible to maximize our income. A few rounds later it's time for the 4th tier. We sell the Spirit, Sniper and the rubber to gold and replace them with both a Mad and a Ray of Doom for damage to the boss and also a 402 Sniper set to last. The Sniper will stun a Moab class balloon in the back to make sure that the rounds just don't keep on passing during the whole boss fight so the Dartling Gunners can focus on the boss. This is important since if the rounds were to keep on passing it would overrun our defense. Another positive thing is that since the rounds don't just keep on passing, that means that we can get back to our farming setup again sooner so we don't miss out on any income. This time I did manage to time it right, so that the first skull got destroyed right at the corner so my towers didn't get stunned. For the second skull I needed to hold off a bit and let Vortex get far enough away before I started attacking again. And thanks to the Sniper constantly stunning a Moab class balloon that just spawned off screen, we take down tier 4 with ease. Prepping for the last boss tier, we get the rubber to gold back and also the spirits. The Ray of Doom we're going to keep because the rounds leading up to the last boss tier will be very difficult and we need to use it on a lot of rounds just to stay alive, but we'll use it as little as possible to maximize our trap income. Now we're at round 119 and the boss will come after just one more round. Sadly, this setup can't beat this round, so we either need to get something like a Mad just for this round, or we can create our final setup one round early. Buying the Mad for just one round and then selling it will lose us more money than we make on that round, so I'm gonna create the setup now so we can afford even more. Since we've gotten so many pops on the XL Trap, I wanted to make the NG Paragon since that would mean getting a very strong one. But even using the discount village before selling it, I am $254 away from affording the $650,000 upgrade. Well, shit. Not to worry though, I have a plan. We keep the setup until we've destroyed the first bad and the DDTs inside it, and that should give us just enough cash so we can sell and buy the stuff that we need during the round, although I need to do it fast before the balloons get so far that the Paragon won't be able to reach them anymore. But we do manage to do so, and now we have a degree 41 NG Paragon with 2 out of 3 Mega Sentries already placed in time for the last boss tier. Obviously, the Mega Sentries automatically spawns Mini Sentries, which I do not control, so they will spawn outside of the intended area. For the first skull, I micro the Laser Sentry, and I also make use of the large explosion damage whenever you sell or replace a sentry. For the second skull, I made use of several of these explosions in order to destroy the skull just before he would have stunned the Paragon. Then, I only placed my Laser Sentry and aimed it away from the boss and waited before placing another sentry, so that the third skull would pop right at the corner just like we did on the last tier. Once I managed to pop that skull without getting stunned, I placed down the rest of my sentries and unleashed everything, and I took down the boss using only the Skyblock.